Up to almost a year ago, I didn't see many students in the library, and this was part of the problem. Students weren't using it. They've moved on to other forms of intellectual stimulation or enlightenment or whatever you want to call it.
When I came 20 years ago, the library occupied this entire space. You could not get in except through the front door here, but the back door that's now the walkway through for the second level was closed off. That was the idea, to not have guys disappear with books out the back door. The library was functioning essentially, from my perspective down at the Learning Center, as a study hall space with two fantastic people, Beth Reardon and Vivian Talley, who spent a great deal of time trying to manage the knuckleheads that ended up here in the library. There were a number of random practical jokes, some of which worked well and some of which probably didn't work very well. Crickets coming through the door, the little book drop, which is why the book drop has been sealed shut for many years. So somewhere around 2005, 2006, the decision was to switch the Learning Center and the library in terms of the spaces.
When I took the job at McCallie, I knew that there was an upper school library, upper school librarian, and I really was excited to work with Ms. Reardon, who had been here and been a librarian for over 30 years. And so that was something that I was looking forward to as a new and young librarian, to work with somebody with that much experience.
This was a neat place. Vivian Talley had a great sense of humor. She was sort of everyone's grandmother, and she would light into kids in the funniest of ways and tell them to get their act together and to get studying. And you knew that she deeply cared about you in that process. Ms. Reardon, same thing, just a phenomenal person. At that point, she really wasn't the grandmother figure. She sort of grew into that. I think she would be comfortable with that. She grew into that. One of the things I loved about Ms. Reardon is that she had a sense of what students might be interested in, and it wasn't her goal to fill a library of just books that she liked. She was really trying to make sure that the books here and the periodicals here fit the students who were here. We had continued to shift towards more digital. Ms. Reardon was way ahead of the curve on a lot of that. I remember there was a fairly neat moment when she announced to the faculty that you could access most of the books and the list of books, not only on campus but off campus. The thing I remember about Ms. Reardon, really the past 3 years, is her comment was, sometimes people don't always come to me because they're worried about me doing more work and extra work, and that's what I'm here for. And she was always willing to find ways to make a difference in the lives of teachers. And the LibGuides are a great example. She and Ms. Granberry has spent a lot of time putting those research pieces together. We've never had a space on campus that is what some folks consider a traditional library of. You sort of walk in and there's incredible awe of being in the midst of knowledge, and you have light and there's stone and it's these quiet sort of spaces and carols, and that wasn't ever this space. We didn't give them a space that could be done with. So I'd love to see that at some point. I'd love to see us have that. The purpose of the library at McCallie really resided in Mrs. Reardon in terms of who she was and what she did. That's what the library was for us. And so now our job is to figure out the symbol or the importance of having all of those in one place. We've never achieved that before. Is that something we want to achieve in the future? And that's a good question. Future building projects. Do we want to have a space? Maybe we call it a library, maybe we call it something else.
The immediate plan is to get the books that are in storage out of storage and into classrooms. I'm hopeful that that can happen by the end of this year, and we'll see. I'm trying to get into classrooms and work with teachers and students to know how to use all of the resources that are available. I'd like to start doing a pop-up library program where maybe in different places around campus I set up a table with books that students can browse. I think browsing is one of the big things that gets lost when you don't have a physical space. That sense of discovery when you come across something that you didn't even know existed, that you didn't know to search for. And so I'd like to help students have those opportunities as much as possible.
The library was also just in some ways a victim to the way in which we as a society are now accessing information, where everything really has been shifted online. I think when people think about where to find things, they're going to Google, they're going to Bing, they're going to use other sources. Continuing to find spaces and ways for the curriculum to grow, we added what was called a media lab, or now the cave. And the best location for that, for all the things they were trying to do, was the space the library had been in. Mrs. Reardon was unbelievable in how she responded to that, you can imagine what that conversation must have been like. Of, hey, thanks for the work. We're going to take your space and leave you spaceless and bookless.
So what used to be the upper school library is now the Cave. The Cave stands for the Center for Animation, Video, and Entertainment. And our goal with the Cave is, I like to tell people, it's really one word: storytelling. I like to think that we're equipping guys to tell stories. We're equipping them to structure stories and to execute them with technical precision. And we have a wonderful facility to do that. I teach 4 classes. These are basically hands-on video production classes. And we have an after-school group that meets 2 days a week, and that's pretty loosely structured so guys can pursue their own interests. We are every day cooperating with other academic departments on campus to make the facility available for their needs. And I envision it continuing, maybe even to the middle school eventually. So we are in the audio room for the Cave, and in here we are focusing on bringing a professional level of sound creation to support the videos that are made here. We also have a color grading room, which is set up with a custom-built computer system to run professional caliber color grading software called DaVinci Resolve, which is the same software that's used in Hollywood to do the final color tweaking for major motion pictures. So guys will be able to go in there and work just like they would a director in Hollywood would work in a similar room to do the final creative touch on their films. So adjacent to this room is the studio. It's a small square-shaped space, but it's flexible enough that we can do a lot of things in there, like shoot interviews and green screen shots, and we can do lighting demonstrations in the controlled lighting environment, which just makes it perfect for teaching about lighting. So we have a 20-seat screening room with a 4K display and 7.1 surround sound, and that is already caught on like wildfire with the campus community. There's always evening screenings going on, and on the weekends as well, and I use it for my classes to screen student work in progress. We also have the 1,000+ movie collection from our alumnus Scott Langley, which has been a great resource to share classic films with students, and that's been getting increasing use in recent weeks and recent months. I hope in the future the Cave becomes a resource for everyone on campus to discover their own inner storyteller. If someone wants to come in here and make a 30-second public service announcement for a local nonprofit, that's a form of a story, and that's legitimate. And if someone wants to make a silly little comedy film, that is a great story as well. Somebody working on a documentary about a passion subject, that is something I would encourage. We have already been reaching out to many different academic subject areas here on campus. We've had history classes, science classes, anthropology classes, English classes, and others using our space to support their teaching and learning. I encourage people to drop by and see the Cave for themselves, and I'll be happy to meet with them and show them around and talk about things that we do here on a daily basis. And it's so new, we're still learning, we're still growing, we're still trying new things, and it's a work in progress. And I don't think we have the space physically to grow anymore, but I'm hoping we can reach out to even more of the campus community.
Hello, this is Beth Reardon, and I have been the upper school librarian at McCallie for the past 33 years. And so I came really with the idea that I would stay a year or two, and you see that went off course at some point. But I have loved being here at McCallie. I've been very happy here. I've learned a lot about myself and about students, and about how to be a librarian, how to be a good librarian, I think. And so, some changes happened here at McCallie in the last few years. I mean, I've seen a lot of changes really over time, because once upon a time the library took up this entire second floor where the Learning Center is now. But in the way things are shifting in this world now, it makes some sense to concentrate on some of the online resources and help you boys, or the boys here at McCallie, learn how to use those resources. But I was at that same point in my life as I was when I first came here, which was I was open for something new and a new adventure. So what happened was, it was decided that since we were using so many online resources now, that it didn't make sense for the library to take up such a large amount of space, and that space could be better used for something else.
But if you ask me for my opinion, I just have to say that I'm a lover of books, and I would rather have books around me than not. And if we still had a library close by in this building, I would go to it often.
And this position came along for me back in New England, close to my family. I'm going to Milton Academy, which is a really great school right outside Boston. And those of you who know me know that I have a real long-standing love for the Boston Red Sox. So I'm going to be practically in their backyard now, which I'm very excited about. I feel a lot of ways like I did back when I first came to McCallie, just starting fresh. And I'm real excited about it. I'll miss you all. You're all unique. Someone once asked me why I liked working in an all-boys school, and I said, it's never a dull moment. Every day is different from the last one before. And I think that's one of the things, it's been one of my joys here, is that when I come in the morning, I never know what was going to face me that day. Good and bad.